Welcome back to Lost Odyssey, everybody. I'm Chocolate Milk, and we're just going to finish up the last of stuff in Tosca. Back in the inn, if you talk to this girl and you say, yes, pay your respects, you will start a mini-game. It's called the Kelolon Minigame. And this is why I said to pay attention to all of the Kelolon statues in town, because basically what we have to do is hang a flower wreath on all of their necks. There's 16 in the whole village, including indoors and outdoors. It doesn't particularly matter what order you do them in. However, the really annoying thing about this minigame is that villagers will purposely stand in front of structures that you need to get into. For example, there's a villager standing in front of a bridge or in front of a ladder, or there's some of them standing in front of a house. And the more Kelolon statues that you put wreaths on, it'll make certain people move. So basically, just hit up whatever statues you can first that are uncovered. Nobody in the way, they're really easy to get to. And get them out of the way first. And then make sure that all the people move. For example, that little boy, they're standing on the bridge. So we already got 7. They give you 5 minutes to do this, and it's very easy to do in 5 minutes. You can do this in 4 minutes. You usually have about a minute left over. So I'm doing them in no particular order. I'm very just running around with this. I've played this game so many times that I know exactly where all of these statues are, and I know exactly when the people are going to move, so that's not really a problem for me. This minigame is also totally optional. I should probably mention that. This has nothing to do with the main storyline, but you do get some prizes out of it. One of the prizes being a magic spell that you can't get for a little while afterwards. So you might as well pick it up here. It's easy to do. It's kind of fun, you know, it's really not that bad. And there are some in the houses. I don't know if you may have noticed that when you were in the houses, they are kind of hidden, but there's one in each of the 2 houses here, one in the inn, and then the rest of them are outside. Can't go there because there's 2 people standing in front of them. We're gonna get that one last. The guy has moved from in front of the ladder, thank God. He takes a while to move too. He's pretty stubborn, and we've only got 3 more after this. We're missing the one in the inn, the one behind the waterfall, and the one that's in front of that house where those 2 little kids are standing, and they won't move. So we've still got well over 2 minutes to do this, so we're not running short of time at all. We're doing good. Alright, 2 more to go. For it being such a small village, there's quite a bit to do. Really, I mean, they give you minigame and everything. So with this statue, I'm also going to get a hidden treasure hunt item. I think this was the treasure hunt clue that was included in the dream that we triggered in the last video. So behind that waterfall is a Medusa's head that you want to grab as well when you get that Kelolon statue. And for the final one can be kind of tricky. In order to get those people to move, what you have to do is go into the house next to it. And as soon as you go in, you immediately leave. And by doing that, it should cause the people to move. And that should probably be the very last one that you get, because that is the most, that's one of the more harder ones to get. So there we go, 16 out of 16, and we even had a minute and a half to spare. It'll bring you back to the little girl who gave you the challenge, and once you have paid your respect to every single one of the Kelolon statues, she'll give you some presents. So some supplies, a slot seed, a seal blocker accessory, and the spell Gamble. And that is it for Tosca Village. That was just the last little bit of cleanup that I wanted to do. It looks like he's still not going to give us the treasure hunt clue, so whatever, I'll do it later. And now we can get on with the story. As you remember from the last video, we were going to talk to an old sorceress who has actually taken her home in Kaim's old home. So if you leave the village, we get 2 new areas on our map. One of them is the Northern Cape and Black Cave and Old Sorceress Mansion, so sorry, we get 3. We're gonna go to the Northern Cape first, and you should recognize this area. This is where all of Kaim's dreams have pretty much been happening. This is the area where Liram jumped off the cliff. So this is a totally optional area. This area has really no significance other than storyline for Kaim's memory sake and a few items. There's a lion heart in that chest. And if you go up to this little cliff here, this was the exact cliff that Liram jumped off of. It's a very, very high cliff. Beautiful view too. And I thought it was pretty cool that they actually put this in the game. I guess I don't really see why they wouldn't, but I still think it's cool that they put it in because it's just such a landmark area. Now, I opted to take the other path before because you should go and see that area first and then veer off to the right to pick up the glowing item on the ground. And then if you want to go all the way down to the end of the path, you'll also get just a little bit of dialogue at the very end here as well, which is totally optional, but this is actually where Gongora was standing when I think he pretty much just like used his magic to control Liram to jump off the cliff. I mean, that's my understanding of the situation, so that is the Northern Cape, and we won't be coming back here again, so we're gonna get on with the story, and we're gonna go to the Old Sorceress's Mansion. This is our next dungeon in the game, and I have a very, very, very love-hate relationship with this place. I pretty much love this dungeon minus the monsters in here and the puzzles. It's got very great emotional atmosphere. It's very important to storyline. It's very beautiful, like artistically. They did a great job designing this dungeon. However, the monsters in here are very strong. If you're underleveled, it can really be a huge pain in the ass for you. And there's also ghosts, and I assume that is Liram. It looks like her. Actually, that's something I don't care too much about. But yeah, it's a very tough area if you're underleveled, and these are the kind of first monsters that you run into that will actually have like a type advantage. Some of the enemies in here you can attack with only physical magic, or physical attacks, sorry. And then there's also some in here that you can only attack with magic, so it's kind of a tricky area starting out. So we start in the crappy rundown hall here, and there's a few things to pick up in the first room before we follow that ghost. Now you'll pick these up along the way as well.
What's that? They look like pieces of a poem.
The sorceress did this. She made a mess of everything. Let's get rid of her for good.
And I do believe there's 5 poem fragments in total. So they're usually shining objects on the ground, which you'll pick up. So be sure to make use of that save point. I strongly suggest saving before you go into this area because, like I said, it can be pretty tough going in. And there's the ghost again. We're pretty much going to follow her the whole way through. But before we can go in that mirror, we're just going to pick up this item first. Another poem fragment. Warmth brings no solace. It's a pretty depressing poem. This is a very depressing area, but I actually really love it. It's very beautiful. And this corridor here, what we have to do is we don't have a choice in the matter. We have to open up all these doors and fight all the enemies because we need an item. So just keep fighting all the enemies along here until you get an item sparkling. As you can see, I have the item here. And we need this to continue on. So you cannot advance on until we defeat monsters in the doors. We get the large mirror jewel. And that allows us to actually follow the ghost. So if you go back to the mirror, we can place the gem on the mirror and then we can follow the ghost and continue on. It's a puzzle area. It's not the most difficult puzzle area, but it's kind of a pain in the ass if you don't know what you're doing. So let's go on through. And look at that! This area is also a double world kind of area. We've got two aspects. We've got the broken down mansion and the newfangled, beautifully kept mansion. So this is the mansion of the past, and the wrecked mansion is the mansion of the present. Alright, so I think I'm going to cut it off here. We're going to start in this room in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching Lost Odyssey. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.